How many of you here watched the President deliver a speech to the nation about the horrific shooting that took place last January? I'm sure you're all aware of the crazed shooter that opened fire on the helpless crowd. This was conducted at a crowded supermarket in Arizona. The shooter's hope was to cause harm to Congresswoman Giffords. This past January, the Congresswoman stepped down as acting Congresswoman of the state of Arizona, and her focus was to recover and to spend time with her family. I'm going to look over the President's speech and reflect on my opinion of the speech. I will break it down and dissect it. The best way that I feel to do so is to break the speech down into three categories. The first being his opening, the second focusing on his body of the speech, and the final breaking down the closing monologue. One of the most important aspects of a speech is the delivery of the opening. Without a proper opening, an attention grabber, and touching of key points, the said speech is just going to be an average speech, and it won't be an above average or great speech. Throughout the President's political career, he has been an excellent public speaker, and his speech that he delivered last January was no different from the others. In his opening, he made sure that he hit the hearts of the thousands in attendance and the millions at home watching on television. I personally thought that his opening started with, I quote, "There is nothing that I can say that will fill the sudden hole in our hearts," end quote. I thought this was one of those statements that caught the hearts of the audience and kept them listening. The President started off and made a reference to Congresswoman Giffords and her family. He set the flow of the speech from the beginning and did not slow down afterwards. The President's opening followed right into the body. The transitions seemed very well thought out and caused the speech to flow just beautifully. The President's speech was right to the point. He did not divert from his speech, nor did he try and add a few political messages in there either. He talked about each victim that was lost that day. He made the audience feel for the slain, and he also had the audience undivided attention. Throughout his body of the speech, the President repeated some key words. This was an attempt to get the audience to understand the importance of these words and the statements he was about to make. This was to signify to the audience importance and passion. The speech flowed very well and went from opening to body, then to closing in a matter of no time. Through the speech, he mentioned the victims and some of the survivors, but none were as young as little Christina. At 10 years old, that child lost her life due to the madness of one deranged man. In the President's closing, he mentioned little Christina a majority of the time. This was to signify the loss that this world lost, that a 10-year-old child was gunned down in cold blood. The main point of the closing, in my opinion, was to get the audience to relate to Christina and feel for her. At the end of his speech, the President asked the audience to stand and give an ovation for the slain and for the wounded. In the final words, he thanked the audience, the nation, and gave the typical President closing. God bless, and may God bless the United States of America. The President delivered a very thought out and well-planned speech. His writers did a fantastic job. The speech was not too lengthy, nor was it too sappy or dry. The transitions were great, and not during any time of his speech did he stumble, nor did he get his words tied up. The President hit all of his points that he wanted to hit. His opening foreshadowed the body and closing well. The closing tied his opening and body together. There was no jargon in his speech, nor were there any culture or diversity issues, and the speech was appropriate for the whole audience. In the words of the President, I quote, Let's all stand and give a standing ovation to the ones that lost their lives and to the families of the slain. May God bless and keep those we've lost in restful eternal peace. May He love and watch over the survivors, and may He bless the United States of America.